Well, thank you, Mark, and congratulations, and more importantly, thank you. Congratulations to the Isaiah House and to the Workforce Investment Board and Goodwill Industries for being chosen and selected in this competitive process to get this $2.5 million grant that's going to help over 6,000, nearly 7,000 of our fellow Kentuckians struggling with addiction and employment. But more importantly, thank you, because what you have done with Isaiah House over the years in helping people overcome their addiction and deal with their struggles and meet people where they are and recognize that there is dignity and worth in every individual, no matter what path their life has taken, and recognizing that dignity and bringing that to them through the services that you provided is so valuable, and it's why you've received this grant today. And thank you to the Bluegrass Ad and the Workforce Investment Board for partnering here to provide these services. You know, a few years back, when the opioid addiction crisis was really on the rise and the surge in Kentucky, we started hearing from families struggling and terribly difficult stories, in some cases, people who lost their lives to the scourge of addiction. And we knew that this was not just a local problem here in Kentucky. I mean, we heard the statistics that Kentucky suffered from the third highest opioid overdose mortality rate in the country. But this was a problem that was nationwide. And when we talked to our colleagues in the Congress, we heard heartbreaking stories from around the country. And so Leader McConnell and I and our colleagues in the Congress on a bipartisan basis recognized we needed to do something about this and do something fast. And we formed in the 6th Congressional District a recovery working group. And Isaiah House became a member of it, but a lot of faith-based and not-for-profit organizations, people on the front lines of the fight against addiction, they came to us and they gave us ideas. These were not ideas that came from Washington. They came to us and they said, what works? And they said, what works is not just putting a roof over folks' heads, not just a 28 or 30-day detox program, but long-term transitional housing with employment services and wraparound services and tender loving care, and people who really cared for these people and recognized the value that these folks could offer to society. And so we took that idea back to Washington, and we came up with this idea of the comprehensive addiction recovery through employment re-entry, or the Career Act. And I give great credit to our next speaker, Leader McConnell, for shepherding this legislation through the Senate, but we came in a bicameral way and a bipartisan way. We included it in a bill, and I think it became law, and President Trump signed it into law in 2018. This grant is the first fruit from that. There's some funding that came from the Department of Housing and Urban Development from this bill that's in Frankfurt right now that will help specifically on the housing piece. But this $2.5 million grant came from SAMHSA. So it was a bill that addressed both the housing side and the wraparound services, the employment services side. And this is a win-win, because not only is a good job part of the recovery process for these individuals, but it's also a win because, let's face it, our employers need these wonderful people. They need them. We have a desperate need for workers in our economy right now. So this grant is a win-win in every single way, and I'll conclude with this. The biggest thanks is to those individuals who are the clients of Isaiah House. The 6,000 men and women, the 6,000 plus men and women who will be served by this grant, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for recognizing that you are worth it and you are needed. You are needed as a contributor to our society, to our community. God bless each and every one of you, and thanks for what you do.